I guess my friend had touched him or something, touched the teacher. He said, "Get your cotton picking hands off me." All right, we're going to do the back half of Akala, Fire in the Booth. Let's get into it.
It ain't one people alone, mistaught about themselves. We live on Celtic land, but don't learn about the Celts the same. Irish people you characterize as stupid during the dark ages. Some of the most educated living in Europe. And
Ooh,
Okay.
a line.
Yeah, I didn't catch that last time either, so it sounds like, because I don't know anything about this either. Sounds like the stereotype Irish people have is that they're stupid, but then they have a history of some intellectual stuff.
And they're in Celtic land. We didn't know till the other day that the UK was like Ireland, Scotland, or like Northern Ireland,
Right.
Scotland, England. And so, yeah, they're in Celtic land. So I guess Ireland was like all that at some point. That's
Yeah, I mean, this
crazy.
is really like being in class. You know what I mean?
It is. It really, truly is. Because we don't even learn this much about history.
Right, I'm learning.
so many statues in
Wait, and you said the Kingdom of Congo had embassies in Italy 500 years ago. I never knew that.
Nah.
What? Because they really do tell you, like, it was, like, barbaric and, like, you know, we're so much better off because blah, blah, blah.
Well, the
Look
thing...
at Congo today.
Okay, but, like, most slaves are not from the Congo. Like, you have the slave coast, like I was talking about. You know what I mean? So it's like... It's easy to believe it was barbaric because somehow our people ended up in the Western world. So how did that happen? Like, they didn't just get kidnapped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe some did, some didn't, but like some were sold.
But maybe it was like inter-African warring or something. Maybe he'll teach us.
Right. So it's like, yeah, obviously all of Africa wasn't like a barbaric shithole.
Right.
Of course, we know. We know the Greeks and stuff were down in Egypt studying.
Right.
Because they didn't know the stuff the Egyptians knew.
It's hard.
I wonder how much of Africa was on that kind of stuff, embassies in Italy and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
It's hard to discern what the truth is from just like textbooks in school because they hella do not tell you the whole story.
Right.
Like in school, they tell you like a little bit.
Tell you what they want to tell you.
the noses, even when them statues made of granite. It ain't one people alone, mistaught about themselves. We live on Celtic land, but don't learn about the Celts the same. Irish people you characterize as stupid during the dark ages. Some of the most educated living in Europe. And did you learn the numbers you count with every day was invented by Indian people? I bet you didn't. Or how many million Indians fought for Britain in both world wars? Still you got the cheek to call them immigrants. We don't.
Okay. So he's saying Indians invented numbers?
So he's got to be talking about Indians, not
Yeah,
natives, because the natives.
Some of people fighting in the wars and stuff.
I mean, I would believe it because that whole Shiva Shakti, like that, all that Indian spirituality to me is like many years ahead of a lot of other.
See, I would have thought it would have been in Egypt. So I'm gonna have to do my research. That's interesting. I did not know. I mean, both cultures are super old. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either way.
And like in America, the education is just like when it's like past the threshold of old, then it's just all old, even if it's like 2,000 versus 5,000 versus 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, we're a baby country.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about when people say they're educated, like in America, like I take it with a grain of salt. Because like, okay, what does it really mean? So you did some memory work on some stuff that was half true at best.
Right, some certification.
And you know how to sit still in class and do some tests. Okay.
Right.
Sounds like you would make a good employee. You know what I mean? So it's like nothing wrong with education, but people be like, oh, and the educated this and that. Oh, I'm educated. Like it's the be all end all.
Especially older people in the Black community. I feel like older educated people, because college in their day was like something that was like,
and they may not have been allowed to go.
Right. It was like hard to get. They'll come to you like education is like the end all. Like you just better listen by default of they have a degree and you know their degree's in this, so they're an expert in this.
Did you learn the numbers you count with every day was invented by Indian people? I bet you didn't. Or how many million Indians fought for Britain in both world wars? Still you got the cheek to call them immigrants. We don't learn about the Moors, of course. For some that knowledge dangerous. Is it a problem, the impact they had on the Renaissance? When people take power over another group, we minimize their achievements so we can make it feel true. So if you think Columbus was first to sail ocean blue, you probably believe Elvis invented rock and roll too. And oh, for the record, no doubt I believe in peace, but not for...
Okay, I am literally hearing things I did not hear the first time.
Never heard it.
Like, you would have came to me yesterday and said, oh, did Akala mention Elvis in Fire in the Booth Part 2? I said, no, I don't remember Elvis.
Maybe we didn't get this far.
No, we got past this. Or did we not?
We couldn't have.
Dang, we stopped
Dang,
early.
why we do y'all like that?
We stopped that early?
We had to. We had to, because I didn't hear all this. We stopped shortly after he was like, wait, we used to run around and rolling some.
Oh my God, what were we doing?
We were missing out.
Oh my goodness.
This is straight education. I could re-listen to this over and over and like actually take this information.
That's the thing you said. Do you think Columbus was the first person to sail the ocean blue?
See, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I remember we were reading books about Egypt and Africa and stuff. We found out they had found like African remains in America before we even had slaves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, how did they get over to America? Clearly, they had boats. It's pretty obvious.
I mean, oh my gosh.
But I mean, if you think about it, that's, that's a lesson from Christianity, turn the other cheek. But it's like, maybe the way it was meant isn't the way it was given to us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Because turn the other cheek just sound like, let them walk all over you.
Right.
And who knows what the original meaning was. But we do know the Bible was rewritten a lot of times.
That is something, though. It's like the person saying, oh, turn the other cheek. They usually infringe upon your rights. Or, you know what I mean? Like, they hit you first and be like, well, you'd be better off to just be humble and walk away from it. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute now. Like, what? You're not peaceful if you react or respond, But it's like you didn't initiate it.
But not for 1 second and they'll turn the other cheek. They slap you, slap them back, take teeth. The only way a bully ever learn is getting beat. Fight, fire with fire, nah, fire with water. See, the life-giving force is stronger than the destroyer. That's why these MCs can't speak to me. No, all men are not made equally. My brain's made of iron fiber, conducting the livest wire. My average grade's higher than Oxford or Cambridge require. I don't want credit because I got a message. I want credit because I'm the best MC. Get it? When I came out way back in 04, sister, I just won every award. Most man would have done the bait thing, put big sis on the chorus chords. That would have been A-list draw. Quickly I would have been famous more, but look how I came in this thing raw. Bang up the streets some more. If I MC then I heard me rap, I'd be like, what the? I ain't never gonna be that good, so I better not push my luck. It will embarrass me. Only insanity would make you challenge me. Better hope if we bump heads, that day that I feel like charity. If not, it's a beating, and there ain't no use in searching for meaning. Cause all it means is that you are crap and I am a genius. Why I'm Panama, I push the parameter. Can you imagine if I'm sicker than average? I killing with character. Benjamin Banneker, look at the marriage, stamina damage away from Britannica. Got to look for the whole of the calendar. So cold that I roll in the challenger. Why you man roll with the amateurs? I'm too much harder. You can just call him Father Akala, but I don't talk shit like a pastor. You already know that I'm smarter than half a bloody disaster. If I ever start, I'll probably a prodigy, make you a martyr for these crap MCs that mumble. Then see me in the flesh and crumble. Never told you that I was humble. No, I'm not. Don't lie. I'm so sure in my writing ability that I feel like I'm finding divinity. Sit down and me rhyme a soliloquy. My agility, time in this military. What a scene, guillotine for the mini-me. It seems you're a fiend for the mimicry. Your team couldn't dream of the synergy that I bring when I scheme when a wicked beat. There goes again with the big words with best syllables. Get your dictionaries out. That's what I'm about. Clowns wanna shout. Flash them, smash them in the mouth. Bloody professor, a man of the letters I read and I'm sure that I'm better. Never regret an endeavor to dead an oppressor. I think that the lepers that think that their pleasures are better endeavors than all of our pressures. But see me, born in a rage, maroon blood coursing my veins. As you can see, I was born for the stage, but I'll never be their cultural maid. Some say that we're political, is what they're doing isn't. Don't they preach a political doctrine called materialism? But for all the Italian clothes that you wear, or German cars that you drive, or French champagne that we'll buy, will still be monkeys in their eyes. So why you were begging it? Who knows? Italians fight.
Okay. So basically, for all the Italian clothes, all the designer clothes you buy, all the German or foreign cars that you drive,
G-Wagons,
all the French champagne that you buy, still be monkeys in their eyes.
Dang. That's so true, though.
I mean,
that's sad.
That makes me think about when Kanye puts out his designer stuff. He catches heat about the price. It's just a pair of shoes. Why are you charging that much? It's just a pair of socks, just a sweatshirt. But you never hear that critique on Gucci, on Louis, on Versace. No one ever said, it's just a shirt. You know what I mean? If you wear that kind of stuff, you fly. But it's like, who are you trying to impress wearing this stuff? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's crazy.
I feel like what he was getting at was like subconsciously buy it seeking approval from them. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, like.
It's like, yeah, you also buy it to impress other people because everyone thinks it's fancy and nice. Yeah. But it's like,
that think that their pleasures are better endeavors than all of our pressures. But see me, born in a rage, maroon blood coursing my veins. As you can see, I was born for the stage, but I'll never be that cultural maid. Some say that we're political, is what they're doing isn't. Don't they preach a political doctrine called materialism? But for all the Italian clothes that you wear, or German cars that you drive, or French champagne that we'll buy, will still be monkeys in their eyes. So why you were begging it? Who knows? Italians fight to wear Jamaican clothes. Italians call their own women for everyone's entertainment, bro. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the one with the code of the flows.
What you got?
Italians call their own women probably snitches for the entertainment, whatever, for their entertainment.
Wait, you said snitches?
No, with the B word.
Garden tool. Oh, itches. Gotcha.
Yeah. For their own entertainment. Do Italians call their women this? That is.
You say they're fighting over Jamaican clothes or something like that too?
Dang. Why you gotta do them like that, Kyle?
Food for thought. Just got chew on that one. It's like, how did we get here?
Dang, we'll still be monkeys in their eyes. I wonder why.
Right, and how do we get past this point?
Right. Because look what black culture produces.
It's like, how do you get a whole culture to see dumping millions of dollars into Versace is not the way to go? You know what I mean? Because like, in the day, I know if I wear some Gucci or something, people will be like, dang, that's fly. He got money. I mean, I don't want people to see me like that. I don't want people to think I got money, but you know what I mean? I know the response I'm going to get if I wear it.
Right.
So how do you get people to stop doing that and invest in their own community?
Political doctrine called materialism, but for all the Italian clothes that you wear, or German cars that you drive, or French champagne that we'll buy, will still be monkeys in their eyes. So why you were begging it? Who knows? Italians fight to wear Jamaican clothes. Italians call their own women for everyone's entertainment, bro. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the one with the code of the flows all over the globe. I'm bunning down shows, but still don't oil my chest and pose. Pose a threat to the power structure, not because we're anything special, but because we're the people together, and that's the only way things change ever.
Oh my gosh! Akala just took.
All right, I need to hear that last part again so I remember it right.
I'm just the one with the code of the flows all over the globe. I'm bunning down shows, but still don't oil my chest and pose. Pose a threat to the power structure, not because we're anything special, but because we're the people together, and that's the only way things change ever.
Okay, we pose a threat to the power structure. Not because we're anything special, because we're people together, that's to change anything ever. I mean, there's no better way to end that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What a message. It's so simple. Why can't we?
See, that's a goosebump ender right there. That's a goosebumper. I mean, just the thought of, like, black people being unified. Like, just the thought of that gives me goosebumps.
Right? Black people in America, black people in UK, all of us together. I want to. That would be so great. That would be so great.
I don't have anything to say about it. Like, just the thought of that leaves me speechless. Like, just thinking, like, dang, what would it be like if black people had a tight community? We didn't have all the violence and drug issues and all that kind of stuff. Like, a tight community that supported each other's businesses and stuff like that.
Ah, man, we would be happy. We would be happy. We wouldn't be killing each other.
We'd be happier, at least.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people probably heard this the first time and were like, oh, you know, he said this. Like, they're probably, like, mad and offended by some of the stuff he was saying and, like, points he was making. But it's like, the end message is just like, wow, not that we're special. We just be together. And that's going to be so much great change.
Right?
It was such, like, innocent message for such a, like, hard-hitting song.
I mean, I don't know, okay, if this is the main channel that it's on. You know what I mean? Like, is it on another channel that has more views?
Oh, yeah, we're watching it on Charlie Sloth. But I actually don't see...
I think so. Look at the... Well, no. Yeah, I don't know. But my thing
I don't
is...
see an Akala channel. Like, I don't see his own Vivo or anything.
Right. So, I mean, just based on this video, let's assume this is the main channel that it's on. You know what I mean? This only has 1.1 million views.
Since 2012.
8 years ago, some change.
And he said he came out in 2004 or something.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is a 2012 upload, right? So we're talking about 8 years and some change. But it's like if the song was about booties shaking and punani's popping,
Yeah.
100 million views. Easy.
Holes in the...
You know what I mean?
Some holes.
It's like songs about pulling up and busting on people.
Why?
100 million views.
Why do you think that
This
is?
has a million views in 8 years.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think we...
I mean, like, we don't have time to answer that question.
What do you think if you could?
But it's the culture. The short answer is it's the culture.
Okay.
Now, who's to blame for the culture or how we got here? Now, that's a longer answer. But I mean, he touched on a lot of it.
He did.
You know what I mean?
He was like he went so fast and said so much.
Yo.
Okay, we thought it was over. There's more. Don't want to cut you guys off again. We're just gonna finish it. I don't even. Does this count, or was that the fire in the booth, the beginning or the end? I don't know. Let's just get into it.
Oh, you gonna dig this?
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, but absolute powerlessness does the same. It's not the poverty, it's the inequality we live with.
Dang.
Starting off strong. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, but absolute powerlessness does the same. I mean, it was like he said early in the song, basically about gangbanging and stuff. Don't be surprised, they're just following their leaders. So it's like the people with the most power going around the world, bombing stuff, taking resources, all this stuff. Then the people with the least power doing similar things on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Gangbanging, which we know is violent.
It's
You know,
like
drug deals get botched. People take, you know what I mean? Robberies, like same.
Powerlessness has a way of like wearing on your conscience.
And it's like you gotta do things to survive. So it's like
Yeah.
it kind of corrupts your characters. You gotta survive.
Right.
Down. Yo, listen. Yo.
I know you gonna dig this.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, but absolute powerlessness does the same. It's not the poverty, it's the inequality we live with every day that will turn us insane. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, but absolute powerlessness does the same. It's not the poverty, it's the inequality we live with every day. Yo, listen. In a scheme of living, my life wasn't hard. But as far as Britain goes, I practically starved. Sleeping in a tracksuit, gas meter running out, electric car off as well, candles lighting up the house. Looking in my mother's eyes, I see how she feels. The strain and the pain of just paying bills that ain't real. And that's how I grew, like so many more. And I was part of.
So I'm guessing he grew up in a single mom household. Right? Has he mentioned that? I mean, it's pretty obvious based on that. But yeah, I can relate to that. You just see your mom struggle, you know what I'm saying? And back in the day, it was balancing checkbooks. See your mom at the table with a bunch of bills, a checkbook, like balancing a checkbook, just like, you know what I mean? Like the pain, you feel it, and you want to do something about it. That's why, look, every black kid was like one of the main things they want to do.
Help their mom.
Pay off their mom's house,
Yeah.
buy their mom a new house. It's like you see that pain growing up and the sacrifices made just so you could have a decent shot at this thing we call life. You know what I mean? And it's like, that leaves a mark on you.
I practically starved, sleeping in a tracksuit, gas meter running out, electric car off as well, candles lighting up the house. Looking in my mother's eyes, I see how she feels. The strain and the pain of just paying bills that ain't real. And that's how I grew, like so many more. And I was part of who I am very sure. You wanna know the rage I feel in my stomach? No, my mom and dad split up when I was still in her stomach. And not everything that happened I will put in 16s, but I will tell you enough so you will know what I mean. My boy's mother got cancer the same time as mine, but his mother died and mine survived. It was crazy back then. When I was like 10, already had the mental strength more than many grown men. This was a couple years after my stepdad left. Did he really know the crazy mess that he left? Because mum done recover from the lumps in her neck, but being poor and alone couldn't cope with the stress. My big sis fought, so much so, now I hadn't left school. When she left home, I was 13 by now, still a little kid, innocent. Next couple years though, will turn him to a militant. That is the result of no food in the fridge. And every other day you're getting searched by the pigs. Plus these patronizing teachers, though my grade sick, trying to emasculate me, yeah, turn me to a Anna. Don't mean a woman.
Dang. Every other day getting patted down by the pigs. That's how they do it over there?
That's rough.
I
I
guess
didn't know it was like that.
certain neighborhoods in the U.S. is like that too.
Yeah, that's
It's like back
true.
when New York had to stop and frisk. I could
Yeah.
only imagine. We didn't live there, but I could only imagine how often people were getting stopped and frisked. That's crazy.
Still a little kid, innocent. Next couple years though, will turn him to a militant. That is the result of no food in the fridge. And every other day you're getting searched by the pigs. Plus these patronizing teachers, though my grade sick, trying to emasculate me, yeah, turn me to a Anna. Don't mean
And the teacher's part. My brother had a teacher, my older brother, that literally told my mom, I didn't know little black boys could be so smart. Because he has straight A's. He's a surgeon now. It's like, I didn't know little black boys could be so smart. Like, so people really, this is just a teacher.
Mm.
This isn't someone like way up, you know, elite person in government. This is just like everyday person. Just a teacher. It's a normal human being.
Would
With
you
the
say-
idea that little black boys are dumb.
Goodness, people. Would you say that incident contributed to him being a surgeon today? Or would you say he was going to be a surgeon no matter what? And like, that's just the ignorance of people.
No, he was going to be a surgeon no matter what. Or at least something like high up. Like he's
Like, you know
always
how
been
they'll say
smart.
though, sometimes it's like, oh, haters be your motivators. Like, that'll motivate somebody to like,
I
you
don't
know what I
think so.
mean? Because it's like, dang.
I mean, he was
what?
already doing well before that. It wasn't like he had all F's and the teacher was like, oh yeah, no, that's what I expected from a little black boy. And then he got motivated. Like, he was already doing well. He was going to do well.
That is so messed up. And this is like recent times. I can only imagine not that long ago, our grandparents' era.
But you see what you just did?
What?
You just subliminally tried to give the credit for his success to the racist teacher.
Dang!
But he already had straight A's.
That's gross.
You know what I mean?
That's gross.
Like, do you think that was, you know, the motivating factor for him becoming the teacher? So she get the credit?
Not that, but I mean.
You know what I mean, though?
But did it contribute?
No, she ain't contribute nothing. She
That's
probably
what
almost ruined
That's what
it.
I'm saying. I feel like people act like, you know, rough, hard times and stuff. Like, you get all these lessons from it as if you need it. But it's like, is there really any good that is like inherent in a situation like that? That's jacked up as a parent.
Yeah, you get bigger awareness. You learn more about the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, it's
But no,
like,
I get what you're saying. It could have been a motivating factor if it was the opposite situation. So I'm going to prove this person wrong. Because like, he was
Like,
already doing well.
What
so
did she
like,
think she was saying? Like, you know what I mean? What did she think she was doing?
Well, she said, like, I have to confess one of my sins. This was at a religious school. It was at a Lutheran school. She's like, I have to confess one of my sins. I didn't know little black boys could be so smart. So maybe she was, like, getting it off her chest.
But why'd you have to say it? You could confess that to your pastor through the, you know what I mean? Like, that is so rude. If somebody said that to me about my child, I would, like, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, we switch schools.
Right? I feel like I would want to switch schools.
Because
Just
is
like,
that the only teacher at the school who thinks like that?
right?
Like the one who said it? No, probably not the only one.
And if she could be that dumb,
Okay,
then,
that school was racist. I'm not gonna lie though. I remember I was
Really?
in 5th grade. It's like me and my little friends, we would get in trouble. Just for laughing, you know, class clown, crack a joke, we're laughing and stuff. But it'd be like mainly us laughing, like 3 black kids. You know what I mean? And the teacher said, I guess my friend had touched him or something, touched the teacher. He said, get your cotton picking hands off me. He said that.
my heart skipped a beat.
I mean, the student was bad. He did end up in prison eventually. He was a bad kid. But still, there's no excuse to say that.
Modern day, that teacher be
But it's
getting
like,
fired.
okay, some people, if you work their nerves enough, you'll see that kind of stuff
That's
come out.
right.
It's like kids work nerves all the time. That shouldn't make you racist.
Right.
And so that's the fact that it comes out when you get your nerves worked. I mean, it was always there.
Dang.
Now you tell a 5th grader to get your cotton picking hands off me?
A kid. Oh my God.
So, I mean, I wonder what his experience was with teachers. I bet he's got some stories.
I do feel like the education system is set up against black boys specifically. Not just black people, you know what I mean? Like, yes, and then just in general, poor class people. And yes, the education system needs a lot of work. But I feel like in general, I used to see a whole lot of little black boys. They'd be like sitting in class like, you know what I'm talking about? Banging on their desk and stuff. And the teacher,
Freestyling and stuff at lunch.
always, yeah, and they're like so rhythmic and so like naturally talented. They excel in music class and all that stuff. And the teachers would give them detention for that. Like they would literally take away their recess.
Well, I mean, it's set up against boys. But then, especially when you bring in racism, then black boys will have it the worst. Because, I mean, men were just more active.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a little boy just being himself, oh, he has ADHD. Because he can't sit still in class. It's like, okay, so let's get rid of civilization and go to a tribal society. Do little boys just naturally sit still? Is that what little boys do?
Right?
You know what I mean?
Can you imagine 30 minutes of recess a day for a little boy? Like, just thinking about it now as an adult, it's like, yeah, it's definitely set up against boys.
Yeah.
Especially little black boys.
Yeah. Because then you have little black boys who don't naturally sit still, as boys don't.
Yeah.
And then take a racist teacher. You know what I mean? On top of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
yeah.
black boys, we're going to violate the rules. And so what's the punishment we get?
And you take the cultural...
When you think we have cotton picking hands and can't be
Right.
smart. You know what I
Ooh.
mean? Like,
Yes. That's crazy.
Cover from the lumps in her neck, but being poor and alone couldn't cope with the stress. My big sis fought, so much so, now I hadn't left school. When she left home, I was 13 by now, still a little kid, innocent. Next couple years though, will turn him to a militant. That is the result of no food in the fridge. And every other day you're getting searched by the pigs. Plus these patronizing teachers, though my grade sick, trying to emasculate me, yeah, turn me to a Anna. Don't mean a woman, please let me be clear. I mean a spineless man, because what do they fear? More than a working class brown male with a brain. When our energy is harnessed, everything changed. Look at Pac, look at Marley, look at Hendrix, look at Garvey. This is the potential that is wasted on a daily basis. A racist, classist world that we're living. Still we coming for nothing and we educate millions. I see why it scares you. It's like how dare you overcome obstacles that we have been careful to place in your way every step of the way. In this so-called democracy where kids get sprayed, blacks and the Asians, Turks and the Chavs, crowded in council flats, living like ants. And who's more confused than so-called white trash, talking this madness about they want their country back? It never was yours. You should read more. What they did to brown people, they did to their own poor. But people's memory short, so much that I'm seeing black and Asian kids cuss Eastern Europeans. No pot to piss in makes competition. I fail to see how this is an effective system when cats and dogs in America and Britain eat better food than most of humanity, and we spend our technology only.
Ooh.
Hey, in modern day, you have the whole, like, what is it, like, I don't know, it's a little refrigerator section with dog food and stuff, like the
Yeah.
fancy meals for dogs and
A
stuff.
dog fridge. I was thinking about that today. I was like, dang, you know, like, literally, okay, so through the pandemic, there's been more and more homeless people popping up in the area, right? And we just kind of like started noticing it's just more and more. Like today, the whole bus stop, they had like all kinds of, like the bus stop was turned into like a Skid Row tent. And like we used to live in LA, we know what Skid Row looks like. It's like that is very scary when society starts to crumble like that. And I was thinking today, like, dang, our dogs literally have a better quality of life than like at least 10 people in the area. And that's just like sad, you know? In America, like we're supposed to be leading, you know, whatever, and it's like we have no clue what we're doing, and people are living like this. In the West in general, they're living horrible.
But what's the solution? You know what I mean? Like,
And what
that's
can
a
we
whole
do?
different conversation.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
and like the solution's not easy. It's got to be multifaceted, and it's impossible. So
And it would have to come really from the top.
and it would take time.
There's marketing and media perpetuating. Yeah.
But it's not gonna be a quick fix.
Trash, talking this madness about they want their country back. It never was yours. You should read more. What they did to brown people, they did to their own poor. But people's memory short, so much that I'm seeing black and Asian kids cuss Eastern Europeans. No pot to piss in makes competition. I fail to see how this is an effective system when cats and dogs in America and Britain eat better food than most of humanity, and we spend our technology only on killing. How is this more than sophisticated savagery? It was once said, the world is a stage, each person just an actor with a part to play, like the middle class kids.
Okay, how is it more than sophisticated savagery? I mean, I think
It
that's
is.
what it is. But I mean, my thing is like just given human nature, like the ideals people talk about being humans, like, well, we still are animals at heart. Like we're mammals, but we have very high consciousness. But it's like, can you really have a system without savagery? Like a utopia, basically. It's like, I really don't think that can exist.
I think the only way it can exist is if everybody walks around like, hi, how are you today? Like, you know what I mean? I think if everybody walks around kind of like a straw man, then you can have a utopia where everyone's playing pretend.
Yeah, and he didn't say utopia, but like the system's sophisticated savagery, but I mean, it could be better.
Kind of like Stepford Wives. You know what I mean?
The system 100% could be better, but I think it's always going to be savage.
Yeah. But, you know, I do feel like, though, it can be savage and you can still have G-code. You know what I mean?
A lot of people do.
Like, I feel like if people just operated on their own G-code, like not, you know what I mean? We had, like, a general, like, you know, you just kind of, like, feel things out. It's like, you know, when you recognize good people and, like, it just is how it is. I feel like if people operated that way, then it wouldn't be as technologically advanced and organized as it is, but it would be livable.
I don't know.
Be savage.
I'm not seeing your vision.
You don't see my vision? See?
No.
It's like gangs in the 80s and I don't know, before that. I don't know, but basically when there was like sort of like block etiquette. Like there was like social etiquette and there wasn't like Karens, you know, going around like, your truck's still loud. Like, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't get that out of pocket behavior.
You're saying like zero, like law enforcement.
I mean, I'm not one of those defund the police people, but I do feel like...
You're saying hypothetically.
I'm saying, like, basically, if we had more social organization to where, like, there wasn't a need for law enforcement intervention. You know what I mean?
But there's always going to be
There will,
murderers.
because there's not fathers in homes, and
there's always going to be people who do non-consensual sexual activities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Force themselves on people. Like, that was here before civilization.
But then it's
people
like,
didn't just start killing each other when civilization came along. You know what I mean? Tribes war. Tribes killed each other, massacred each other.
True.
So it's like, to me, that element of human nature, you can't get rid of it.
But then it's like, what about the internal checks and balances? You know what I mean? Somebody from this clique or this group or whatever is acting a certain way and they infringe upon the rights of another. The group takes care of it. Like, how do we get away from that to like give it to the government? Give them.
I mean,
all
that's what's
their
done in the
power?
hood.
Yeah.
You want to live there?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's like, on one hand, I agree 100%. System is not set up for us to succeed. Take away, let's say if you could eliminate racism, then what are we left with? A system that's still not left for the majority of people to succeed.
Right.
For society to run the way they want it to run, you need a huge middle class and a lot of poor people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The middle class is working class poor, as he calls them.
Right.
So it's like
It
they're
is.
just spoiled enough that they feel like their life is good, but they're not actually advancing.
Because whenever I hear stuff like this, it's like, something like this, accurate, I agree with the problem, but I always get to thinking, well, what's the alternative?
Well, we need people like you. You know
You know what I mean? What's the alternative?
You tell us.
And that's what I can't see clearly. I can see some tweaks being made, but it's still going to be the same system.
But okay, so even let's say Bill Gates, okay, let's say he was on some, instead of vaccines, on some like actually fix the poverty problem.
Okay.
How would he do that?
See, I didn't even want to get into the solutions yet. I was going to wait till the end of the music, so that way if people just want to hear the music and drop off, they can.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
You just got to remember your question or whatever. We can get into it. That could be way longer.
Okay.
In America and Britain, eat better food than most of humanity, and we spend our technology only on killing. How is this more than sophisticated savagery? It was once said, the world is a stage, each person just an actor with a part to play, like the middle class kids and kids of the rich that have everything, but yet still they pissed on their coke and ketamine, strung out on. I ain't generalizing, look at the evidence, so go to Glastonbury any year, you will see. But unlike Carnival, it won't be crawling with police, this is London. The kids on the very next street had a very different life experience from me. And in my experience, they can't help but be smug. After a lifetime of what they think's just good luck, but they're still more anxious and more thankless. Unearned privilege weighs like an anchor, that's why they copy what we do, trying to be what they not. They will grow up though and...
Oh my gosh.
What you got?
Unearned privilege weighs like an anchor. I feel like these people who are just like silver spoon babies, like, you know, not even middle class silver spoon, they are just on a subconscious path of destruction.
Why is that?
I mean, a lot of the people that we know, like private school educated kids, end up being the ones going out, you know, causing like a lot of like problems.
Well, in the private schools, they do have drug problems in private schools.
Yeah, and I feel like they're just, it weighs like an anchor because they have all this, but a very close example to me, went to private college, weighs like an anchor. Literally, he literally can't function.
Yeah, I mean, when you have things that you haven't earned, you really don't have the like consciousness level to manage it.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't earned it. It's like the journey to earning something, you build up the mindset to manage
the character.
it. That's why lottery winners go broke. You know what I mean? They file bankruptcy, like 80% or something like that, file bankruptcy within 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, you pretty much... See, now we're getting into the conversation I want to
Oh
have
my
end.
God,
Solutions.
okay, sorry.
You know what I mean? But it's like pretty much you have to earn something to have the level of thought to manage that thing. Like, if you just gave me $1 billion, I'm not going to know what to do with it.
Right.
I haven't earned it. I do not know how to manage $1 billion.
just good luck, but they're still more anxious and more thankless. Unearned privilege weighs like an anchor. That's why they copy what we do, trying to be what they not. They will grow up though and get better jobs and maintain a system that they claim that they hated. They can't fight against, they got a stake in this matrix. Hip-hop is just a fad to them. You didn't know? But for us, this is our living, breathing soul. And yeah, they might backpack in South America or eat.
Okay.
Oh.
That's why when Post Malone said something about how, like, rap or hip-hop doesn't talk about any real stuff. He's like, if you want to, like, have a good cry, listen to Bob Dylan or something.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? So he just hopped on the hip-hop train.
Right.
And people buy his stuff and stuff, but it's not even real to him. I mean, you gotta be, how do you guys still support this dude, but his audience probably doesn't look like us.
I mean, or they just don't know, you know? The media is probably not like really spreading it, you know?
It's like, how can you support Post Malone when he thinks hip-hop is just like, oh, it's just for fun? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta be kidding me.
And he made a good point. They'll love hip hop and all this stuff, but then they'll go and get a job that supports this matrix. You know what I mean? The other people literally can't get out. Like, rap is the way that they get out the hood. And it's like, that is so true. So true.
I mean, you gotta have a job, though. Or some means of making money.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not exactly so simple as, like, they want to support the matrix. But, you know what I mean? Because then you get into, like, well...
But it's like hip-hop is a fad, it's not a way of life. When they go to the job interview, you're not gonna get the same person
right.
who was just listening to that rap song saying the N-word in their convertible. You know what I mean? It's like, it's gonna be a completely different person.
Dang, it's like they're supporting the music, but then, I don't know.
They will grow up though and get better jobs and maintain a system that they claim that they hated. They can't fight against, they got a stake in this matrix. Hip-hop is just a fad to them. You didn't know? But for us, this is our living, breathing soul. And yeah, they might backpack in South America or even volunteer in an African village. But all said and done, when push comes to shove and hits the fan of middle class and British, and I ain't even dissing. That's just how it is. Most rich brown people are just as full of shit. So much more concerned with our cars and jewels than most of the world's poor looks just like you. So much more concerned with being privileged few. And who knows, maybe me too, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, but absolute powerlessness does the same. It's not the poverty, it's the inequality we live with every day that will turn us insane. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, but absolute powerlessness does the same. It's not the poverty, it's the inequality we live with every day that will turn us insane.
Who's bad? Akala's in the building, man! We call real MC!
Okay, he said most rich brown people are full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's facts. I feel like a lot of the black celebrities
Oh,
will
man.
lead you to the slaughter. Like, taking their advice, I feel like they have puppet masters, you know what I mean? They got people pulling the strings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, rarely do I see a celebrity and think they're really shooting from the heart. Like, ooh, I felt that. Like, no, never, rarely ever.
That makes me think about, like, when we were living back in LA and, like, the Chris Brown music video. They want to pay $50 to these video girls, you know what I mean? Like, you think, oh, like, they're in a Chris Brown video. They really made it somewhere. They want to pay, like, $50 for, like, 12 hours of work. $50 pre-tax. And, I mean, you know, somebody I was really close to, it's like, I didn't get paid for any photo shoots or anything like that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I feel like black people that move up are supposed to be like, you know, helping the community. Doesn't really happen in hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, some people give back to a certain degree, but the advice they give is still trash. But on the other hand, it's like when black people do come up, sometimes black people that haven't came up have like a little chip on their shoulder about it.
True.
Especially if that black person marries outside of the black race.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you can't do that, of course.
I remember some black billionaires, like last year, 2 years ago, had like donated to pay all the student debt for the graduating class of some HBCU.
Okay.
Do you remember the
Yeah.
school?
No, I don't remember.
I don't remember the school. It was an HBCU though. But he was married to, I think, a white woman. And he was getting backlash.
That was all the news.
Yeah. The main news was like,
He sold out.
yeah, he sold out. It wasn't about him paying off all the student loan debt for the graduating class.
Yeah.
Okay, billionaire Robert Smith,
34 million.
Morehouse College, 2019 graduating class. Got all their student loan debt paid off by him. But he's married to like a white woman or something, so people were hating on him for that. So it's like, on the other hand, you do have black people who are successful and they want to give back,
Right.
but they get met with so much pushback. So, oh, you think you're better than us? Oh, we don't need your money. Things like that do happen.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's like, it's not just the
it's
rich
not-
people.
Yeah. It's not the most. So, it's like a very multi-tiered, multi-level problem. It's not all black people in any of these circles. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm sure he paid off tuition for some that were like, it would have been other people would be more appreciative.
Right.
You know, because also it's like thinking back, it's like if your tuition was paid off, well, you never had to pay that $500 a month towards student loans, so you didn't really, like, you know what I mean? It's like you just carry on in life, and it probably doesn't. I mean, for some people, great, but others it probably isn't the same appreciation.
And now we can get to the other conversation.
Okay, my question, I remember it.
Okay, but okay.
Okay,
This is my thing.
what's your thing?
Talks about a lot of problems.
Okay,
Whenever I have a conversation about problems, I also want to talk alternatives and solutions. Because like you said, it's not poverty that drives us insane, it's inequality.
okay,
Like part of what drives you insane about inequality is focusing on the bad. It's a lot of bad.
okay.
There's not much good about inequality, but okay, what I like to take my mind in a different direction. Okay, we've identified the bad.
Mhm.
What are the alternatives? What's a different trajectory we can go on? How can we get around the obstacles? You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't drive me insane if I'm focusing on alternatives.
So it's basically like you're one of those people that doesn't. You're not saying racism doesn't exist. Slavery was not a problem at all. You're saying let's talk about what we're going to do moving forward.
Yes. I don't like to focus on the rearview mirror too long. You know what I mean? Like when you're driving, you gotta check the rearview mirror every now and then. You need to know what's back there. That's facts. But I like to focus more in front of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what was your question?
Hey, I like that analogy because when you change lanes, you definitely got to look in the rearview mirror. You
Yeah,
got
check the side mirrors,
Yeah.
the rear view. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So.
But most of my focus needs to be, what am I doing going forward?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I do think it's important to learn like more accurate history.
Right.
So you got to look in the rearview mirror sometimes.
Because like, what if they actually just taught like around the world? I don't know if in the UK it's like this, but in the US they teach a very like filtered version of history.
Well, I mean, history is taught to build a certain mindset so your society can survive.
Okay.
Society is for the survival of itself, not for the quality of life of the people.
And it's not for the truth. Like,
Right.
It's like
It is like an entity that wants to survive.
that's true.
And then the
Okay.
people are a whole different thing, different classes, stuff
That's-
like that.
What if in school even? Well, I mean, I guess that would.
Why would they teach that?
I'm
Okay.
like, what if they taught you
If
that
you-
this isn't actually teaching you? It's actually telling you what we want you to think.
If you don't believe in the system all the way, how do you have a military? Who's going to sign up to die for a country if they didn't, like, weren't at least being fed propaganda? It
That's
was
true.
favorable, gave a favorable view of the country kind of thing.
That's true.
You can't tell people, oh yeah, we're just going to invade places, we need some oil. Well, I'll sign up and die for the country. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't work like
Right. You gotta tell them it's a whole conflict and they're threatening us.
that. Right.
Dang, it's deep. It's
So
deep.
it's like, yeah, every country has propaganda that's part of the system trying to survive. If you look at the system like its own entity, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Separate from the people. The system is its own entity. But what was your question?
Okay, so scratch the previous Bill Gates example. Let's say Elon Musk.
Okay.
He wants to he has hella money and hella, resources. How does he reform the poor in the West, at least? Like, how do you...
What? Okay, how does he reform the poor?
Let's say he has billions. I mean, okay, I don't know. Let's say he has lots of money. What does he do? Like, let's say from that perspective, like, what can he possibly do?
I mean, that's too large scale.
Okay, well, what?
Like, he
what
can't
would-
really do anything to. I mean, he can invest in schools and alternative types of schools to try and educate large swaths of people.
Yeah.
He can't really just solve that
Okay.
by himself. Like
How about?
that to me is the best thing someone with that much money could do. Invest in like raising the awareness of large swaths of people who we would say were underprivileged or something like that.
Re-education.
But he can't change the system. You know what I mean? Yeah, he could
Yeah.
lobby some politicians, but I mean, that's about it. Like, give people awareness of different opportunities so they can get out of their situation, to me, would be the best thing he could do.
Okay. So what could the young black males in the West like you do then? So that's a smaller scale.
I mean, you really got to take life into your own hands. It's like, personally, I don't worry about the system too much.
Okay.
What am I going to do about it? Overthrow it?
Never.
Not going to happen with the technology and stuff modern day. The military stuff I have, like, okay, we're not going to overthrow anything.
By the way, have you guys noticed they read your mind now? They literally, like, you can think of something, and if you don't search it, anything like that, it just pops up.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You're saying with technology.
I'm just saying with technology, military has, like, we're not really going to overthrow it. So what are we going to do to have a good quality of life in the system that we live in? You know what I mean? So I'm saying that's where my focus is, what I can do personally. Little things I can do for family and friends and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, what can I do personally to live happily in the system? Okay, build a life that's fulfilling. Chase passion over money, but passion will lead to money. But be driven. That's why I don't talk about the problems too much in society. Because, I mean, every minute I'm talking about the problems is a minute I'm not investing in myself. And I don't have a problem talking about it sometimes, you know what I mean? But it's not my focus. On my social media, you're not going to see there's a bunch of posts about the system. I could be reading a book. I could be writing a blog post. They might generate thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? I could be building a business. I could be supporting other people's business. It's like things like that. It's really a community thing. But like as a black person today, we don't have that tight-knit community. So you're almost out here dolo. You might have a few people who support you. But right now, it's a fucking dolo mission. It is what it is. It don't always have to be that way, but right now, that's what it is. It's a dolo mission. You don't have the community that has your back, going to support your business no matter what. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just me personally. That's what I do.
See, I feel like guys like you, guys like Akala, guys like Dave, it's like there actually are black people like this. Like, every day, everywhere. Why don't we see that more in the media? You know what I mean? Like the hood, ghetto, super thug, this and this. I feel like that's a perspective. It does exist, but it gets its shine.
I mean, they're not going to promote that in the media.
This is strength, though. You know?
They don't want that.
This is like he was saying, given those circumstances, the fact that you can overcome it in your mindset is still like they're telling you every single day, cops want to kill you. Cops want to kill you. Everywhere you go is a danger to your safety as a black man.
What mindset does that put you in if you're in fear for your life all the time? What can you accomplish if you're constantly living in fear? Like, that's what they want us to do. They want us to focus on the circumstances that we were given and to live in fear.
They would put a slave on a $20 bill. So you remember, every time you use a 20, every time you pull out a 20.
They don't want to put a black leader, a black intellectual on the $20 bill. Like in the U.S., they're talking about putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill.
They can put Martin Luther King.
So they just want to remind us every time you got $20, oh yeah, we were slaves. You know what I mean?
Every time.
They don't remind us of what we can become. They would remind us where we came. That's where they want us to focus. I'm saying that's why I do not focus on it. I have no problem talking about it. But I'm not going to focus on it. I'm focusing forward like a motherfucker, okay?
When I get a freaking bug bite, I focus on it. And you are like, according to the media, a walking target as a black man. And you still, it's like, I feel like this kind of stuff, this is what we need to hear. You know what I mean? This is what needs to lead the culture.
That is what is focusing on it going to get me? What is it going to do for the culture at large? It's going to keep us where we are.
More of the same. Yeah.
I'm not saying Akala is focusing on it. He's teaching history.
He's using art.
He's teaching a more accurate version of history.
He's got his mindset. But that's what I'm saying. Akala, Dave, like, I mean, literally, this is the examples. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing that you'll find. Like when you start focusing on yourself, because you got to focus on yourself first. You can't give back when you have nothing to give. You know what I mean? So you got to focus on yourself first. You got to build up. But when you do that, you will have tons of people from every race supporting that journey. Like, we don't have a tight-knit black community that's going to, like, we know we got a base of support. You might have a good family or something, but it's like, I mean, people from all different races and walks of life will support your business, your journey.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they will.
They will.
And that's what I found. Like, I quit my job in corporate America in 2015. So I haven't had a job since. And people who have supported my businesses have looked any and every kind of way. Like some of my biggest customers.
They do. We love y'all. All people. Like he said earlier, remember he was like, wasn't it this one or the other friend of the booth? Remember he was like, all these people, y'all my people. It's like, remember, I forget what he said.
Talking about people who have been like oppressed. Kinda.
Yeah. He's like, basically, if you're a decent person, y'all my people.
All right, this video is super long.
So long.
We get into a whole different conversation.
We could keep it going.
Good song. I don't know why we cut it off the first time.
I know, what were we thinking? It's like so insulting.
Oh my goodness. But okay, hopefully this is redemption.
Hopefully.
If you want to support the channel, if you like the content we're putting out, hit the like button, subscribe. We appreciate you guys. That's a wrap.
I don't know. Tell me, man, what do you know? What do you know? Me and my boys on the road. You to go. She told me, boy, you to go. Like, I don't know. But I don't know.